What is up, ninjas? My name is Serum. You got your big ass dark kick in there, you got your drums going, you got a little acid bass going. Do you feel like you're like Emily Lands and shit? Today I'm going to be taking a tutorial suggestion from one of you guys that stated I should make a tutorial on a tutorial that was made in Ableton's operator inside of Serum and creating drum code bass stabs. Essentially what this sound is, guys, is going to be an FM bass sound that we can create inside of Serum with a little bit of a twist that you have to add an envelope on the FM to get the right vibe in the sound, and that is what we're going to be doing today. This thing is going to be able to, one, be used as a rolling bass, be used as a standard bass, or be used as an additive bass, ear candy bass. Now, using this bass stab will prevent your techno track from sounding like a riot full of hats and make it a little bit more interesting. And we're going to be doing this, like I said, inside of Serum. Now, this Friday, guys, I am going to be releasing 150 presets for Extra Record Serum called Paradox. It's going to be a techno sound bank for Serum in the style of modern, more aggressive techno. There are a couple of sounds in there for more of the basic chill tempo, Stefan Botzin, Andrew Winter kind of stuff, but a lot of it is going to be very hard. And if you guys are in the market for that and you want to support the channel, that is the best way to do it, guys. But with that being said, there's really nothing else to say. Let's get straight into this tutorial inside of Ableton. Alright, guys, and welcome inside of Ableton. We're going to be creating this on top of this loop I made just for this tutorial, which looks like this. Alright, so that's us taking the place of the essentially what the bass shot that we're going to be creating, okay? Alright, guys, so let's get straight into it. Now, first off, it's very important that you understand that the length of your MIDI notes are really going to matter when you create this style of bass. The longer the MIDI note, I think the better, because it's going to allow us to control the stabbiness or the length of the bass stab that we're going to be creating for your drum code track, okay? So essentially, this sound is made utilizing FM synthesis, and gladly, Serum's going to have most different types of synthesis that we can use, the more popular ones. So we're going to have a sine to sine FM. Now, you can definitely go with a saw or a square, but the reason we're going with the sines is because the sines are basic waveforms that just has a fundamental frequency. That means one frequency. It doesn't have much harmonics unless you're using a variation or you distort it. And essentially, when it comes to FM, it's better to go with sines, in my opinion, just because it sounds a lot better, especially for this stuff. If you're trying to go for more aggressive stuff, then you might opt to have a saw or a square or a wavetable. But keep in mind, the busier the wavetable, aka the more stuff that's happening in it, the harder it is to get a good FM sound out of it. All right, so essentially here, guys, we're going to put an FM on oscillator A. We're going to lower oscillator B down, shut it up, as it's going to be the modulator. This sine wave is going to go into this sine wave. That's essentially what's happening to create the sound. And as we go up on the FM, we're allowing this sine wave to go inside of this sine wave. And the more it goes, the more harmonics you start to get. Now, with these kind of sounds, we want to do a higher FM pitch ratio. And what I mean by that is that if we have a sine wave to sine wave in the same octave, that's a 1-to-1 because they're exactly the same. If you do a 1-to-2, that means this has octave up, and a 1-to-3 more. The higher you go, the more upper harmonics you start to get, and the sound we want to create, the octave 2, will be perfect for what we want. Once we have that, we got to decide pretty much the stabbiness of the bass. So we're going to put this here, and we're going to put a bit of FM just for now. All right, and let's... So here, control the decay. You know, low sustain and decay, you're going to control the length. How you want it. You know, some of these are going to be longer than others, you know, just like in real life, we got different races. A lot of people will use the longer one, the wub one, the stabby one, the bass stabby one. Essentially, it's up to you to decide how you want it, but I'll teach you how to do all of the variations, okay? So what we're going to do here is just have a decay like this for show. Now, if you hear that, it's it has the right tonality, but it doesn't have the right vibe. And in order to give it the right vibe, we have to add an envelope 2 to the FM, as we want the FM to go to right to left. So the envelope 2, we're going to lower the decay maybe a little bit lower there and have this. And okay, cool. Let's make a bit more decay. And then the thing that's going to make the sound what it is, it's going to be a low pass filter with a bit of a resonance. Now the resonance is going to create a peak on the frequency, and that's going to create that kind of sound to it, which is what we need. Very important that you don't go all the way, because then you get something more like that. So you have to get that length right, the amount. So that way we get something that's with this variation. We can make it a little longer if you want. We can make this envelope 2, which is again on the FM, moving that knob. cool. Other thing is we can give a bit of attack to get more of the here. Envelope 2, we're gonna do the same thing. Maybe a bit too much. Let's make it a little lower there. Now here we can maybe lower this down just a bit more, just to get that. And essentially what's going to make the sound even better is going to be the effects you use on it, like your reverb and your ping pong delay. Here I have a Valhalla vintage reverb going with a plate style reverb in it. So if we add that to the bass, you get that nice sound that you tend to hear in techno. If you only have the kick going and you have that, essentially it gives you... We can make it even higher. Lower it, more of a bass stab. Again, you guys know how to do that already. Now, if we lower the FM pitch ratio, we get something a little more deep, which is essentially not what we want. Now, if we go +3, we start going into bass house territory. So you gotta be really careful. You get more of that. Okay, so now if we have... So you can see it's okay, you know, but the bass shot we want is at +3. Now, of course, we're going to get rid of the low end because we already have a big kick with this sub going to create the convolution reverb on it. Sidechaining, of course. So we cannot have low end on this bass. So we can get rid of it. The cool thing about FM synthesis is that the higher you go on the pitch ratio, you start to lose a bit of lows. So a lot of times you might not need to do that, but it's always good to be safe, better than sorry. Okay. Now, with this, like I said, the variations, you can go either way with it. Essentially, let's say we want to create a longer style of bass stab, essentially like a bam, which you see a lot in this kind of music. All we really have to do to switch this up is increase the decay, and on both of these. And you can also go a little bit higher if you want, and then have the filter go higher as well. And lower the pitch ratio if you think it's too much. And now we get more something like that. Here, if we give a bit more mid, and then maybe more resonant, we get something more like along those lines. You can also give attack, so that you will create more of a sweep, which is another very popular effect. That you can utilize. You can also maybe pull back on that. Let's do the long one now so you can hear how it sounds like. Let's lower the attack to around 5 milliseconds. You don't want to go fully all the way to 0 as you're going to get a click because it moves too fast. Let's lower this. There we go. And let's make it a little longer if we can. There we go. And we get something like that with the longer one. Essentially, that's how we're going to be creating those like bass one shots. Now, keep in mind, all this stuff that we just went over, you can do anything you want with it. We are using a wavetable synthesizer, so a lot of times you can be like, maybe I don't want to do FM. Maybe I want to see if I can get something cool out of the wavetables. That's another way to explore different possibilities to get more variations to the sound, essentially creating a more unique experience. For instance, let's say I decide, I don't know, let's go with evolution, which I don't even know what it is. Let's get rid of the FM here, and we'll just use a wavetable to do what we just did. We can also do that, and that gives us different results. There we go. As we're moving the wavetable position from right to left, we're moving between the phases in the wavetable. So we can also get some cool stuff that way. Here we have an FM based wavetable. We can use animal. Sounds a little okay, you know, that one's not the good. If we lower this, that one's pretty cool to create those atmospheric effects. But But essentially, the tutorial was in the beginning of this, guys, to create that bass one shot. Hopefully you understand how to do it already, and hopefully this inspires you to just make your own sounds from the get-go. But as always, if you want to support the channel, Paradox will be coming out. It's going to contain 150 presets in the style of techno, and I hope that you guys can enjoy it. I hope that you guys can dab with it, and it'll inspire you guys to create tracks. I put a little bit of different sounds from my favorite techno producers in there, so make sure to check it out, and I'll see you guys next time, guys. You guys take care. You guys have a happy time, more like a sad, dark time, making epic time, making techno. But I'll check you guys out later. You guys take care, and peace out.